Now, Michael Pengilly is a mayor who is in and around the areas of Kangaroo Island in South Australia, and that area has been absolutely smashed by fires. There are still some worries about what will be happening there in the next couple of days, and that's where we start our conversation. But finally, a local official is out there telling the truth about what really makes these fires bloody awful.
We're still marking time. We've got a bad day there tomorrow with hot weather and winds. We've still got ongoing hotspots. So until such time as we get a substantial amount of rain, we're going to have fire threat, and we're only halfway through summer. So we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, bloody oath we do. All right, well, strength and love to everyone who's there. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you was because you were one of the rare people who was willing to tell the truth, that the past events of the past little while is not all exclusively, absolutely underlined about climate change. There are some very specific things that local, state and federal government have been doing and have been doing wrong for some time. Let's focus in on the land clearing laws, specifically around places like Kangaroo Island. How does it work, and how do you think it worked against the firefighting effort once a fire actually starts?
Well, the great green monster's taken over with the Native Vegetation Act in South Australia some 4 decades ago, which has made it an offence for farmers to burn small patches of scrub regularly to provide some form of defence, and they just get into trouble if they do it. There has been a hesitation by bureaucrats to do more strategic coal burns, and until such time as the nation comes to its senses, and I was pleased to hear the PM say today that we need to revisit everything, we're going to continue to have these catastrophes and these diabolical summers like we've had this year. In years to come, we just have to do something. We can't do nothing, Paul, quite frankly.
Well, dare I say, to use what the left likes to say, the evidence is in, and the idea of just locking off tranches of land or telling the people who have managed the land for centuries, and of course the many thousands of years before that, burn-offs, land clearing, all of that is part of the picture. South Australia is going to have a specific inquiry into the fires there. Do you want this particular piece of legislation to be part of that, and do you think they've got the balls to actually, let farmers take back a little bit of control?
Well, they have to bring common sense back into it. It's just ludicrous at the moment. I haven't seen one of my green left friends, in inverted commas, on a fire truck in the 6 or 7 weeks we've had fires, not one. Correct. And they've all ducked for cover while the poor old farming community and the Kangaroo Island community, in our case, have been out there battling away with many from the mainland coming over. And I'm just saying it's past ridiculous. I've been a volunteer firefighter for 52 years. And I've never seen such a debacle in all my born days. It is destroying the social and economic fabric of Kangaroo Island, what's happened. And I'm just saying enough's enough. It's time the government did show some intestinal fortitude. The current government, I believe, will. But the Labor Party need to get on board and push the changes through the state parliament. And on a wider scale, Australia needs to come to grips with some reality. It's lovely to have the bush. I love it as much as anyone else, and I've got it on my property. But I don't like to see it all disappear in a cloud of smoke.
Well, I was thinking about this over the past couple of days, and the PM mentioned this today, and we've already talked about it on the show, but it bears some repeating. Human beings have always found a way to harness their environment or find a way to deal with it. So say like in Cooper Pedy, it's too hot to have a house above the ground, so what do? They build them underground. When you're in the coldest parts of Europe, you make sure that your house is insulated, so when the winds start to pick up, they're not going to start ripping through the middle of your house and you're not going to be freezing inside. And the truth is that if we want to live in the bush, then we have to make sure that we don't add fuel to potential fires. And I think it's about time we got back to that understanding that that is what human beings do. Human beings adapt to the environments around them, and yes, sometimes even change the environments to adapt to humans, because we can't have it both ways.
No, we cannot. I live with the environment. I've been a farmer for nearly 5 decades. We live with the environment. What we've got on Kangaroo Island, we've got because of farmers. We've got the tree lines, we've got the scrub, and of course the Crown's got the national parks, but common sense again has gone out the door. It is just ridiculous to have every 10 or 12 years a huge fire through our national parks when, with a lot more cold burns during the cooler times of the year, you can actually do something about putting up barriers to a huge fire, which happened on the island over the last few weeks on a number of occasions. It's went from north to south, from south to north, back to the south and up to the north again. They were started by lightning. We always get lightning strikes. There's another issue to do with the forestry plantations, blue gum and pine. They acted as giant wicks as well as our road side vegetation. So it's past time, Paul. It is absolutely past time. It's absolutely totally lunacy what's going on at the moment.
Michael, I love to hear a bloke who doesn't just represent his community, but he's part of his community. And when the fires are involved, as you say, you're the bloke jumping on the back of the truck, taking care and saving your community, something that can't be said for many of the lefty idiots who've had it their way for too long. Great to talk. I've got a feeling you're going to be back on this show sometime very soon.
Well, I'm delighted to be here, Paul. Thank you very much.